A cat named Steve lived in a small forest town. One day, Steve and 7 other cats all wanted dessert after dinner, but the bakery only had 3 pies left. When there are fewer things than the number of people who want them, that is called scarcity. The next morning, 12 cats rushed to the market because there was only one baker selling pies. The baker only had 5 pies ready. When there are more buyers than products, that is called supply and demand. At first, the baker sold each pie for 8 fish, but because every pie sold out immediately, the baker raised the price to 35 fish. When prices rise because too many people want something, that is called demand pull inflation. Making a pie was not free. The baker needed flour, butter, eggs, sugar, and fruit. Then there was electricity, rent, and the cost of the oven. In total, each pie cost 6 fish to make. That is called cost. If the baker sold the pie for 35 fish but spent only 6 fish making it, the baker kept 29 fish. That is profit. Soon, the baker became the only pie seller in the entire forest. No other shop sold pies, so the cats had no choice but to buy from that one baker. That is called a monopoly. Other cats saw how rich the baker was becoming, so they decided to open pie shops too. The baker did not like that. So the baker hired a group of tough cats to threaten the competition. The tough cats said, "You can sell pies if you want, but every week you must give us 40 fish." That is called the mafia. Eventually, the mayor of the forest discovered what was happening and ordered the mafia cats to be arrested. But before they could be taken away, the mafia leader secretly visited the mayor and gave him 300 fish. The mayor looked the other way. That is corruption. The mafia cats became richer and richer. Then the tax office came and demanded that they pay taxes. The mafia cats hated that idea. So they created a charity called Warm Meals for Stray Kittens. They donated 1,000 fish to their own charity, then used that donation to pay less tax. Everyone thought they were generous. Then the charity hired the mafia leader as its manager. It bought him a mansion, a carriage, and a fancy office. The mafia leader was still spending his own money, but now it looked legal. That is called legal tax avoidance. But even that was not enough. The mafia cats noticed that everyone in the forest loved canned tuna. Unfortunately, the tuna in their forest was expensive and tasted awful. So they traveled to a harbor town far away and found much better tuna for only 12 fish per can. Back home, they sold the same tuna for 50 fish. Buying goods somewhere else and bringing them home to sell is called importing. The forest government did not like imported tuna because local tuna sellers could not compete. So the government added an extra fee of 15 fish to every imported can. That extra fee is called a tariff. The mafia cats did not want to pay the tariff, so they sneaked the tuna into the forest at night through the river. That is smuggling. Soon they made so much money that they could not explain where it all came from. So they opened a fake business called Moonlight Laundry Company. The company did not actually do anything, but the mafia cats claimed that all of their money came from that company. Turning illegal money into money that appears legal is called money laundering. The mafia cats also began sending their pies to other forests. Selling your products somewhere else is called exporting. In one nearby forest, however, pies were illegal because local bakers had complained, so the mafia cats paid the governor 500 fish to change the rules. The governor changed the rules. That is called lobbying, or, depending on how you see it, corruption. Eventually, the mafia cats became the richest cats in the entire region. Then they decided to buy land. They bought a huge empty field for 2,000 fish. Then they cut it into 20 tiny pieces and sold each one for 400 fish. To make the land seem valuable, they hired artists to draw beautiful houses, reporters to say the neighborhood would become famous, and influencers to promise that prices would double. That is called land speculation. One young cat wanted to buy a piece of land but only had 70 fish. So the young cat borrowed money from the mafia. The mafia said, "We will lend you 200 fish, but today you only get 150. Next month, you must pay back 260. That is called loan sharking. The young cat became frightened and decided to get a regular office job instead. Every month, the cat earned 14 fish. But the government kept 3 fish in taxes. That is income tax. The cat also paid 2 fish every month into a government fund. If the cat became sick or lost the job, the government would help. That is insurance. After paying for food, rent, and other things, the cat still had 5 fish left. The cat saved 2 fish in a small jar in case of emergencies. That is an emergency fund. The remaining 3 fish could be spent or invested. That is disposable income. If the cat spent those 3 fish on a new phone or a shiny bicycle, that would be a liability because it loses value. If the cat used the money to buy silver, that would be a defensive asset. If the cat used it to buy land, that would be an asset. If the cat used it to buy shares in a new flying car company, that would be a risky investment. Later, the cat saved enough money to build a small apartment building. Every month, the other cats paid 9 fish in rent. An investment that gives you money every month is called a cash flow asset. The money you earn without working every day is called passive income. One day, the cat received a message in a group chat. The message said, "Send us 25 fish and we will double your money in 1 week." The cat almost believed it, but that is called a scam. Instead, the cat decided to start a real business. The cat wanted to open a tuna factory but needed 5,000 fish, so the cat went to the bank. The bank said, "What if you cannot pay us back?" The cat replied, "If I fail, you can take my apartment building." Using property as a promise to repay a loan is called collateral. The bank agreed. The cat used the money to buy machines, ingredients, trucks, and workers. Those things are called capital. The cat built a company. The company existed to make money. That is capitalism. Each can of tuna only cost 9 fish to make, but the cat wanted to sell it for 60 fish. So the cat started advertising. The cat hired a famous doctor to say the tuna was healthy. A celebrity cat posted videos eating it. A famous website wrote that only sophisticated cats bought this brand. That is marketing. Soon, the company became very successful. But the cat wanted to make the company even bigger without using personal money. So, the cat sold tiny pieces of the company to other cats. That is called a corporation. The cats who owned those pieces are called shareholders. The 10 biggest shareholders sat together and decided what the company should do. That group is called the board of directors. Whenever the company made money, part of the money was shared with the shareholders. That money is called a dividend. But after a while, the cat became impatient. Making money honestly seemed too slow. So the cat created a fake factory and told everyone, "If you give me 50 fish today, I will pay you back 5 fish every day for a month." Hundreds of cats joined. The cat used money from the new cats to pay the older cats. Everything looked fine at first. Then one day, there were no new cats left. The cat took all the money and disappeared. That is called a Ponzi scheme. After that, many cats lost all their savings. They stopped buying tuna, pies, and everything else. The tuna factory had no customers, so it closed. The workers lost their jobs. Without jobs, they could not buy anything either. That is called an economic crisis. To fix the crisis, the government ordered the central bank to print 100,000 extra fish and give them to businesses. The businesses hired workers again. The workers had money, so they started buying things again. That is monetary policy. But printing too many fish made prices go up. So the government borrowed 500,000 fish from another forest and used the money to build roads, schools, bridges, and factories. That created jobs and helped the economy again. That is fiscal policy. However, now the government owed a huge amount of money. That is called public debt. But maybe that is a problem for the future. And maybe the future does not matter, because in the long run, every cat dies.